welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry coming to you this Wednesday afternoon with Let's Talk Marriage. All right. We're going to get right on into our program. I hope everyone is doing well. If you woke up this morning, you are doing well. What we're going to be talking about on the program today, we're going to be talking about our upcoming holiday around the end of this month, which is Easter, which is a very important holiday to all the Christians around the world, because it's the holiday that we recognize our risen Savior. And a lot of times, years ago, everybody went to church on Easter. No matter if you didn't go all year long, you went on Easter. And I think the other day you might have went was Christmas, but we all went on Easter. And we need to get back to that going to church, period, because this day in this society, we tend not to go to church simply because we have so many things that are going on with social media and things like that. It's so easy to stay at home, but it's a lot of fun when you do attend church. That's why it's important that you find a church that you enjoy going to. I'm not saying a perfect church, but find a church that you enjoy going to as a couple, as a family. And as a married couple, it's very important that you attend church together. And that's what keeps marriages together, when you attend church together. And there should be like programs and things for marital programs, and programs for singles in the church, and programs for our youth to keep them occupied. Because there's several ways that you can present the Word of God and it still comes out the same. So those are things that needs to be focused on. Years ago, when you went to church, you made it your business to attend church on Sunday mornings. And back then, everybody stayed in church a long time. I mean, you were there pretty much all day long. You would have morning service. I know at one time, some of the churches, they would have 3 services on Sunday. They would have a morning service, an afternoon service, which they would do they would go on the radio around the afternoon service. Then they would have their evening service, which they would call evangelistical service. So we attended church, and it was in our blood, and that was part of who we were, and we tend to have gotten away from that for whatever reason it is. We've gotten away from it because of social media and things like that, where it's so easy to stay at home and watch it on TV. But it's so much fun when you, and it's so much enjoyable when you attend church in person. You remember the days when they used to have choirs? I don't know if any church still have the big mass choirs, and you would enjoy, And some people say, "Oh, they sung a long time." Yeah, but you were so caught up, you didn't even realize how long they were singing. And by the time the speaker would get up to speak, the spirit would be moved so much that it will shorten the service, because the spirit would already have moved. So that's why it's important to attend church as couples. And one of the things that we had talked about many times on the program is, if you are in a church before you get married, and once you get married, you have to make a decision on what church you're going to attend. If you can't decide on the church that you're going to attend, you would pick a neutral church and attend that church together. And that way you won't have ties on either end, from either area. So make sure that we are attending church together and enjoying each other as married couples in church. It should be a family day. I remember years ago when we were coming up, we all attended church with my grandparents, my cousins, my aunts. We all went to the same church. So our church was in walking distance. I mean, it was a little walk, but it was in walking distance. And because we wanted to be in church so bad, we will walk, even in the wintertime, all the way to church. And it never bothered us. We enjoyed that walk together as a family, one big family. People would see us walking down the street going to church together. And when we got there, we would have such a good time at church. And sometimes we would stay all day, and sometimes we would, come back home in the afternoon. But for the most part, we stayed all day. But that was the time, during that time, that people went to church, and couples went to church. You saw a lot more husband and wives in church. And now most churches you see there's predominantly women in there, and most of them are married. It's just that their husbands don't go. If your husband do not go to church with you, this is the time. We talked about listening. Women, this is the time that you listen. Ask them why they're not going to church with you, and listen to them. They might have a legitimate reason or a valid reason for not attending church with you. And listen to what they have to say. Because sometimes people that don't go to church, sometimes they have more wisdom than the ones that do go, or they can pick up things quicker than the ones that attend church. So make sure that you listen to them, and kind of go through what they're talking about, validate what they're talking about, and understand what they're talking about, and understand where they're coming from. And this will tell you why they're not attending church. And sometimes they'll have a valid reason, and pick another church. Let them find a church that you both can attend, and you as a family. Because when we were coming up, we went to church with my mother. My mother was a single parent, but again, we all went to church together, and until later on everybody got older, and it didn't happen that way. But when you doing those times when your kids are small is the most important time to instill going to church in them, because they might stop going when they get older, but guess what? It's never going to leave them. At one point in time, they will return back to church. Whether it's when they have their own kids, they'll start taking their own kids to church, or when they first get married, or even when they first get serious about someone or get engaged with someone, they'll start attending church, especially if they had a wonderful experience in the church that they grew up in. They made a lot of friends, because the friends that you make in church are the friends you usually make for a lifetime. I know the friends that I went to church with when we were teenagers and young people, all those people I still have a relationship with. We don't see each other on a regular basis because we live so far apart, but we can call each other and, get on the phone and talk to each other. And that never left us. And those are the things that are instilled in you. So we have to make sure that we are taking our children to church, and don't just wait for Easter to come around and I'll see you next Easter. Make sure that we are attending church on a regular basis. When we attend church on a regular basis, it makes our whole marriage a lot better. It makes our relationships stronger. It makes our spiritual walk a lot stronger. So we have to make sure that we are doing these things as Christians and as being part of what God's plan is for us as a family to attend church. And when we attend church as a family, it's so wonderful. It's nothing like having a church full of different families in the church. You can get so much accomplished. You can get so many souls, because souls draw souls. When they see other people there, other young people, they'll want to attend as well. So that's why it's very important that we attend church together. We've talked about it many times on the program, to make sure that we are attending church on a regular basis, because when we attend church on a regular basis, it makes our family just so much enjoyable. You have something to talk about when you come back home. Oh, didn't the spirit move? Or didn't we have a good time? Or didn't the choir sing? Or something, sometimes in church you see things that are kind of comical. You come home and talk about that, and you just enjoy it. So, oh, that was so funny when Sister So-and-so did this or said this. But you can always relate to it. And, when years ago you would have testimony service, so you heard what other people were, you find out you weren't the only one going through what you thought you were going. When you thought you were the only one going through what you were going through, you'll find out that other people went through what you were going through and came out, and you'll be encouraged for that. And same thing with being married. You'll find out that other couples go through the same growing pains that you might have experienced as while being married. And make sure you, when you are attending church, find one of those couples that's been married a long time, and keep an eye on them, and kind of watch them, and you'll see how well they interact with each other, and you'll notice how wonderful being married is. And I've always said on the program that marriage is not hard work. I get so tired of people saying, "Oh, being marriage is hard." No, it's not hard. If you have a job that you love, it's not hard. Even though you might do hard work, it's never hard because you enjoy what you're doing. And when you're in a relationship that you enjoy your spouse, you might have it's never going to be perfect. I'll be the first to admit that there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. But what you will do is you'll understand each other more, and you'll be able to grow together because you're sharing that love between each other. You're listening to each other. We've talked about that on the program many times about listening. And that's one of the things we mentioned about listening to your husband when you're trying to find out why he does not go to church. Don't be cutting him off. And, you devil. No, don't do that. I'll make sure you listen to it because he probably have a legitimate reason. And sometimes, again, people that don't go to church on a regular basis, sometimes they see things that you don't see because they're looking at it from the outside. You're already on the inside. So a lot of things you might not pick up, and they'll pick it up before you do. Well, this is Pastor Larry. I'm getting ready to sign off, and make sure you enjoy your Easter and have a wonderful summer that's upcoming, and make sure that you are attending church together as a family. I want to take this time, the opportunity to invite you out to our services at New Zion Christian Center, 15014 South Desplaines Street in Plainfield, Illinois. We're holding services right now at the Plainfield Community Center, and our services begin at 11 a.m. Until we meet again, this is Pastor Larry. I'm going to be signing off with Let's Talk Marriage.